Never Finished by Christian Go. I sprinted into the dark, misty forest, thinking my sister Hazel was with me, but couldn't shake the feeling of being tailed. The stars seemed to pierce my soul as I accelerated from fear, but I couldn't escape its clutch. My heart was pounding. Where was I running? I was hoping it was away from this nightmare. Ever had a night terror? Woken up in the still of night with the feeling of a presence, a breath, a slight movement out of the corner of your eye, a feeling that there was no way you could escape. As I dodged the last train to the large clearing where the ferry was, I thought I was free, but there was nothing. I frantically searched for anybody to help, but there was no one. Wait, where was Hazel? Suddenly, I heard a crunching and crackling noise behind me. I flinched and glanced back, only to come face to face with my sister's deranged captor, the same psychopath that had taken my dog, taken my parents' lives on this very night, the very man whom I testified against 3 years ago for the brutal massacre for my two beautiful nieces. It had been 3 years to the day since my family was free from terror, but the grief was still thick. As a celebration for my sisters' win in a civil suit against the Department for Family Affairs, we had planned a camping trip to the South Coast. Hazel had just been awarded $2.7 million for the government being neglectful when she begged them to have her husband, Dean, incarcerated for abusing her and her children. After he brutally murdered them and attempted to kill her, they had no choice but to compensate her. The location was perfect, secluded, quiet, and accessible only by ferry. We stopped running at 7:30 p.m. My sister Hazel was still healing from her ordeal, and from time to time seemed irrational. Even on the ferry ride, she swore she heard her name being catcalled in a soft and creepy voice while she got lost in the engine room.
Hazel, I'm coming. Hazel.
The tents were up by noon, and I volunteered to go fetch some firewood with my most loyal companion, Caden. Caden bolted after I rammed into the dark, deep woods, but it didn't matter. He always came back. As I was collecting wood, I had this eerie feeling that someone was watching me. Then I heard it, a yelp like a pig being slaughtered. I instantly dropped all my wood and dashed to the site where I heard the disturbing noise. I looked all around. There was nothing, except the sound of someone running away. Then I felt it, the drip of blood on my shoulder. I slowly looked up and saw my mate Caden hanging by a rope. I saw him take two shallow breaths, and then his eyes glazed over. Hazel! Mom! Dad! Run! By the time I got back, Hazel was sprinting towards me. Her eyes were sunken. She was pale as a ghost. The only words she could sputter were, "Throat slit. Mum and Dad, Dean is here."
Turns out I was a celebrity for the criminally insane, including some of the guards. They helped cut me loose to finish what I started.
Dean boasted. I pulled out my hatchet and launched myself at Dean. Luckily, I caught him by surprise. The gash in his head was enough to finish anyone. I dropped the weapon, and Hazel walked on top of him, bent down, and whispered in his ear, "Dean, you're never coming for me again. Dean, who's laughing now?" I embraced Hazel and comforted her. "It's over." We held each other for what felt like an eternity. Then, hesitating, she whispered, "He's gone." I replied, "I know. It's over." Hazel sharply retorted, "No, he's gone. The body is gone." 5 meters away, we saw a bloody, crazed maniac heckling us. And we ran.